Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Pitch Points in collaboration today with Patrick at True City Fan on Twitter. Glad to have you here, mate. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Carl?
The weather is fantastic over here in Washington, D.C. You're in Dublin, Ireland, correct? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Dublin. Yeah, it's raining as we speak. The rain just started
It's always
very
raining in
heavily.
Ireland, and I heard it's
It
always raining in Ireland, right?
it is. We usually have four seasons one day. So this morning it was very hot. Then it became a bit cold. Then now it's just rainy.
Yeah, today, I mean,
So
the
it's one of
past
those
weekend,
days today.
yeah, the weekend here
Yeah.
has been absolutely glorious. I mean, the weather has been fantastic. We had some kids' games this weekend on Friday with my kids, and then I had practice again with the kids on Saturday, and we have a game this afternoon. So it won't take too much time, but I always like to talk to Patrick because I think you know what you're talking about, and you love the game, and you're blue. You're a true
Yeah.
blue, as we say. You love the club. You love football, which is to me more
Yeah.
important than anything else. And we have a good debate on our WhatsApp platform with other global City fans. We talk about football. We talk about not just our club. We talk about other clubs, the positives and negatives. We give the benefit of the doubt. We have a really good group of people, and we talk about good stuff. So we see here, Adam just says, "Hey, Adam, how are you, man? Hope you're well there in London." Good. So today we want to talk about just really a couple of topics. Number one, some of the games we saw this weekend. Some shockers, not City game, but other games we saw this weekend. And then we'll talk about Chelsea City match, kind of what we saw tactically, right? What we saw tactically in the game based on our understanding of the game, what we talked
Yeah.
about before, what the strengths are, Chelsea's strengths are, what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are, and what did Pep do to win the game, and then what did Tuchel do to try to outsmart City. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
Patrick, anything else you want to talk about or you want to mention before we get started?
No, I'm all good. I'm all good. That's basically what you and me have been talking about in between like communicating on WhatsApp. We obviously both of us were talking about the tactical side of how we're going to be able to stop the Chelsea side, how we're going to be able to break them down when they park the bus. You know, they like parking the bus, even though the Chelsea fans seem to
Yeah,
not accept that. So look,
yeah.
that's what I'm interested in myself. Is the same as we discussed, and we're going to obviously touch on the few games. So I'm good with that, Carl. So you take point.
Okay, so let's start off. Let's start off with a couple of games that we saw. The obvious one we just saw today. It was Arsenal versus Tottenham. Going into that game, what was your expectation? What did you think was going to happen? And were you surprised with
Look,
the result?
to be honest with you, I was very surprised. I know that Spurs haven't been playing very well. I know that it's not gone well for Spurs, but I didn't actually believe it until today when somebody was telling me that it looks like there's issues at Spurs. For me, look, people come, people keep claiming that it's it's Harry Kane the one that's causing the issues in the team. It's 50-50. You can put all the blame on Harry Kane. He doesn't want to be there. He was forced to stay there, and you can't blame his quality. But for me, look, it does seem like the team is more fluid when it's got fast wingers in front. When it's got Son, Lucas Moura, and what's the other guy? Is it Big One? Yeah, Big One. Yeah, if the three in front and always interchanging, the cause teams more uh, sort of more problems than that. But let's not forget that before Nuno left Wolves, he left them in a bad state. They were not doing so well. So I don't understand why a lot of City fans I have seen on Twitter are saying we dodged the bullet with Kane. I don't think we dodged the bullet. Kane is a good player, even though we might not like him. Kane is still a good player, but I think he's fed up at Spurs. And as I say, don't forget, Nuno left Wolves in a very bad state. He never left them on a high. So that's all I can say. So I understand now. I was shocked by Arsenal. I didn't know it was going to be that easy for them. Very shocked by the result, to be honest.
I'll be honest with you. I wasn't shocked with that result. I think that Spurs have always been. And no, I wasn't shocked with the result. Number one, the record of Tottenham at Arsenal is terrible. They haven't won in how many years? Number two, Spurs are a shambles of a club, in my opinion, right now. The owner, Daniel Levy, is a punk, in my opinion. This is my own opinion. I say that because, in my opinion, he doesn't have the interest of the club at heart. Nuno, unfortunately, being a coach of color, has been put in a very difficult position. The players there are simply not good enough. There's no real system. They don't know what they're really playing at. The game that they won 1-0 against Man City at the beginning of the season was a one-off, and clearly we can see that the wheels have completely come off. I mean, 9 goals conceded in 3 games against Chelsea, against Arsenal, and against one other team, Crystal Palace. Okay, you go to Europa Conference League, which is the worst European competition, the third-rated competition, and you draw 2-2 away to some club that nobody knows of. So there are clearly issues there in the club that need to be sorted out, and it starts from the top. This whole narrative about pushed by the English media that Daniel Levy is some sort of genius, right? When the media pushes these things out, and I keep warning us on our WhatsApp chats that the media will keep pushing these narratives out for clicks, but people who know football know better that it was a disaster. What he should have done, the moment a player says they want to leave, you let them leave, you sell them. Now, people may say, well, because I'm a City fan, I want Harry Kane. I've always said my preference is always Haaland. Number 1, Haaland, Mbappe, 1 and 2 from day one. And I said, remember, Patrick, from day one in June, I told you guys that Harry Kane was not going to come to City. With all the media coming out,
I can give you credit on that one. You did say that he's not coming.
Harry Kane is not going to come to Manchester City. The reason Harry Kane won't come to Manchester City is for 2 reasons. Number 1, Daniel Levy is a punk, and he will never sell Harry Kane to Man City. He'll sell to Man United. He'll even sell to Chelsea, but he will not sell to City. It's an ego issue. It's not a money issue. And here we are today, battered 3-1 against Arsenal, completely torn apart. 3-0 against Crystal Palace, 3-0 against Chelsea. And they may not even finish in the top 10 because United are going to batter them. Harry Kane is completely out of form. I watched him today, and he was a shadow of himself. And here's the thing for the English media. Let me tell you something, guys. I'll tell you today. If you think you're going to win the World Cup in 2022 with Harry Kane being in Tottenham, you're smoking something. It's not going to happen. You can take it to the bank. England will not win the World Cup if Harry Kane is a top and Harry Kane is a captain. If he comes to City or goes to Real Madrid or Barcelona or some other club that's Bayern Munich or another club within England, even United, if he goes there, for example, England have a chance of winning at least the World Cup because you have a better manager, you have a better club, better system who win things. Harry Kane has won nothing. How can you lead a team when you've won nothing yourself? Nothing.
Yeah, true, yeah, that's true. That's fact, yeah.
So was I surprised with the performance?
That's true. Look, well,
nope. So
yeah, but look, this is what I keep. But look, this is what I keep telling. Look, this is what I keep telling City fans who are saying we dodged the bullet. Now, this is not one of those. I think this is not one of those. I can't like yourself. I know you didn't say that yourself, because you can still see a quality player in Harry Kane, and you know the reason why he never came to Man City because of Daniel Levy's ego, and obviously the media hyping him, and obviously it also makes sense. We never heard any 150 million say it out loud, you know. But the people say my audio is not great. Is there something wrong with my audio? Can you hear me, Carl?
I can hear you, but you're better now. You were a little crackled before. Can you speak?
Oh, yeah.
You're
better now.
I think it's on my end, much better now. I think it's on my end. You're much better now. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I'm saying the 150 was never even said that much. It was all about media saying, "Oh, it's 150, 150." You know what I mean? So look, for me, we cannot still say we dodged the bullet. I'm just talking about the people on Twitter. You can't be saying you dodged the bullet with a player who he was forced to stay. You know, so he had no choice but to stay.
The only thing I would say about him, and this is just my own personality, which may be different from other people's personality, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you decide, Patrick, that you want to leave the club, you've gone and spoken to Gary Neville on video. It's all around the whole area. You've left. You haven't come for training, right? I'm not showing up for training until you sell me. I'm sorry. If we have an agreement and we talked about this with the owner, which they did, about okay, 100 million comes in, 120 million comes in next year, you can go. And he reneges. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. And guess what happens? If he doesn't play, then Southgate has a problem. How is England's captain not playing? then there's pressure on Daniel Levy, and then there's pressure from the media. The problem was Harry was trying to both support the club, support the fans, and be nice, be cozy with the fans, but also get his move. You can't do one or the other. Kyle Walker, when it was time for him to leave, he was like, I am leaving because I want to win stuff. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to win stuff.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, you're right about that. I never saw a transfer request. That's another thing that I'm
That's the
surprised by
issue.
him. But what, Carl, let's also just remember this. Uh, when he made his official statement that he's staying at Spurs, did you notice that statement said this summer? Did you
Correct.
notice that? Or like, if somebody is staying there, do you just say this summer? Do you say this summer I'm staying
Correct.
at Spurs? You
Correct.
have to say I'm staying at Spurs. I am dedicated to the club. You know what I mean? He just said this summer I'm staying at Spurs. This summer. That's where I
Did
keep
you
thinking
hear?
that I don't think.
Did you hear Guardiola's comment yesterday or the day before about the striker when he said that something very soon, I'm just paraphrasing, very soon we got a striker, something about that, which kind of indicated that maybe January, maybe.
I don't know.
I'll look for
Maybe you never know. Maybe because I was still surprised by that statement saying this summer. You don't specify that you're staying this summer. You don't. You get what I mean? You have to
yeah,
say I am staying at the club and I'll give my all. But he says I'm staying at the club this summer. But anyway, let's just see how it goes. It was a big loss for him, to be honest.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, tough luck for them. 3-1 again, lost to Arsenal. Arsenal. I'm happy for Arteta. I'm happy for Smith. Rowe was fantastic, by the way. I thought he was
Yeah,
brilliant.
amazing
He
player.
was
Yeah.
a brilliant player. The Brentford Bees, the game yesterday, Liverpool, Brentford Liverpool, 3-3. Goodness me, what a game!
Yeah, it was a very good game. Look, defensive shambles from Liverpool. From a team that say claims to have one of the best defensive unit in the league. Look, it was very poor. The goals were not goals that a team with such high class defense have to concede. Uh, and it was all down to Brentford not giving up. I think Liverpool thought that as soon as they score, I noticed they were sort of relaxing, saying it's
Yeah,
done. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
done. It's over. There's no way Brentford is coming back in. Let's not forget Brentford scored the fourth goal. So look, Brentford seemed to be good, and Tony seems to be a very good player. He's the one who obviously replaced Watkins. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that's who he replaced Watkins. So
yeah.
for me, I enjoyed that game, even though I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights. I enjoyed what happened. I enjoyed what happened the whole weekend. I think a lot of teams had to be brought down to earth, had to be humbled. Some teams thought they were in cloud nine. So look, it was amazing to see. To be honest, I don't know about yourself, how you thought, but I think Brentford are a
Well,
threat.
yeah. I mean, so when I look at that Brentford team, and we talk, I mean, it's a friend of mine. She's an Aston Villa fan. I've been known her for a couple of years. We always talk about players in the championship. We watch championship games, try to look at who's coming up next. And our eyes were always on Brentford. We always thought that they were a good team. Watch that game against Liverpool. There are two things that stood out to me tactically. Was that Brentford played the same kind of game that Aston Villa played against Liverpool when they beat them 7-2, which is basically have two strikers and play on the transition, but play on the transition with your midfield pushing up. So it wasn't like play on transition with 5 people at the back or 8 people at the back and hope that two strikers kind of get the ball in the other box. It was play on the transition using the channels, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, and Matip. They attacked those 3 areas, but they played very, very quickly between the midfield and the 2 strikers up front. That really is what they did. And based on that, because that's where Liverpool are weak, Liverpool like to commit their fullbacks forward. And when you nullify their fullbacks with the front 2 wide, not narrow, wide, or 1 wide, 1 central, with target Trent Alexander and target Matip, you have joy. And that's what happened. They had energy, they had passion, they had power, they had pace. And that Ivan Toney and Mbeumo, really, really, really good players who knew what they were doing. And they're a team to watch. When we play them, it's going to be interesting to see how we play them because they're a good team, young team, full of energy, and can actually play some good football. Those are my thoughts around that particular game, Brentford versus Liverpool as a whole. You did watch the United Villa game? Patrick, I lost you. Okay. Okay.
Oh, how you doing? No, I wrote to you that I'll be back. I was just
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. So, yeah, yeah. So
No,
I
yeah,
just
yeah. The United Villa game. I didn't watch it, but I also watched the highlights. But according to what I heard that United were failing to finish their chances. But that's obviously from a United fan, so I don't know if that's true.
no.
When I
I watched the game. I watched the game, and Villa were worthy winners of that game. They played them really, really well. Again, it's the Villa. Aston Villa's transition game is really good. I'm a student of Dean Smith. I watch a lot of his tactical videos. He has a lot on YouTube, and
yeah,
he's a good student of the game. I watched some of his build-up play, the way he does transitions between the defense and the midfield and the strikers. The guy knows what he's doing. So when they play, it's not a fluke. It's well designed. They know where to target their strengths and weaknesses of the opposition. They were worthy winners. Now, I always talk about the comparison, right? And I want your thoughts on this. When City drew 0-0 to Southampton, there was a lot of media noise about this, right? About Southampton being mid-table, Caution rocking up with the Etihad. City didn't do well, but they got a point. It was 0-0. No striker. United play Aston Villa, and Aston Villa and Southampton are close in terms of where they generally are. United lose at home. You don't hear the same outcry, do you? What you hear,
no, I don't. I
right?
don't.
What have you heard? Nothing.
No, nothing. There's nothing at all. I haven't heard. I haven't heard that. Look what that this team has lost, and they've got such a great team. I think I had a discussion with my brother, who is a United fan, and he told me that he feels that this whole excuse of McTominay and Fred is just a hoax. That another coach would take that team and actually make them impossible for other teams to play against them.
I agree
He
with that.
feels that that team is good enough
I
to
agree with
make
that.
a statement.
I
So
agree.
it looks like, look, you know yourself that it's always the pundits who are ex-United players who are or people who are friends with Oli, and obviously they won't say anything when they go on TV. And
Yeah.
most of these people grow up watching United, so they fantasize how that United is still a brand. They try to make it out that they're still who they are. They
Yep.
won't say anything. And as soon as we drew against Southampton, yet United also drew against Southampton. So I'm surprised why the goalpost changed. When United drew against Southampton, how come they were not say that, oh, they don't have this, they don't have that? I just think they always want to put pressure on City. They always want to start some narrative against City. So look, Aston Villa, if you say they were good, they were too good for United. I am actually surprised that United actually were not good enough to beat Aston Villa. They have Cavani on the bench. Why didn't they bring in Cavani if they
He was
saw
actually
things?
he actually played in the game. He actually played. They benched Sancho, and they played
Did
Cavani.
they? So it was two strikers
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
first.
Ronaldo, Sancho.
Wow, and yet they still lost.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Maguire was there. I think he got injured. Shaw was there. I think he got injured. And the goal was a good goal by Villa. In fact, Villa could have had another one or two goals on top of that. So it wasn't like a fluke. They actually
I'm going
played
to
really well.
Carl, I'm just going to change over and I'm just going to go to the to the TV room so I can have
Okay.
better
All
network.
right.
I think the
Yeah.
issue is the network
Sure.
here.
Sure. Okay. So while Patrick is away, I'll just kind of talk about my opinion about the game. So I thought that Villa were valiant. They knew what they were doing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has all the tools, in my opinion, to be able to challenge for the league title. The question is, does he have the experience to do so? My verdict is that I don't think he does. And I think that United deserve a better manager, one of caliber, one of timber, who's able to lead a team to a championship. He has the tools. You have Sancho. You have, anyway, I think he's overrated though, but you have Cavani, you have Ronaldo, you have Pogba, you have Bruno Fernandes, you have Maguire, you have Varane, you have all these players in the benches. You have that kid, Mason Greenwood, who's a fantastic finisher. There's no excuse, in my opinion, not to be challenging for the top. You shouldn't be losing to young boys. You shouldn't be losing to West Ham midweek, and you shouldn't be losing to Aston Villa at the end of the day. That shouldn't be happening for Manchester United. I mean, let's understand this very clearly. Man United have played six games, haven't played any of the top four yet. None of the top four. Right? So what happens next month when they have City, they have Chelsea, they have Tottenham, they have all these other teams that they have to play against? What happens then? If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't win those games, what happens then? Now, some will raise the argument that, okay, they play better against the teams who are more progressive and they kind of sit back and counter-attack. Well, teams have evolved. Teams have figured them out. What happens then? What happens to Ronaldo then? And who has the highest wage and probably in the league? So for me, there are questions that need to be answered. And I think that the owners have just given United and given them Ronaldo, and it's the biggest con, in my opinion, of the ages. Get the fans off your back. Fans can't point to the owners. They give them everything they want. They give them Sancho. They give them Ronaldo. Question is, do you have the right resource to manage the team and deliver trophies? We shall see. So those are my 2 cents on that particular game itself as a whole. But United deserve better, in my opinion. And they should be competing, but they have the players to do so. Talk about West Ham Leeds. I watched some of the highlights on West Ham Leeds. Antonio's goal was brilliant. What impressed me the most was not Antonio's goal itself, but also the transition from Declan Rice, who ran up with the ball all the way to the right. And he had a beautiful switch of play, curved the ball right from the right side, just before the 18-yard box to a waiting Antonio, who was in between 2 defenders. He got the ball, dribbled defender, and placed a shot right to the right. Beautiful play by Mikel Antonio. If that was Lukaku, that was Ronaldo, that was Aguero or somebody else, people were screaming from the rooftops about how brilliant that goal was. But it's West Ham and it's Antonio, right? For me, he's a fantastic striker, and I really love what he has done. And welcome back, Patrick. Welcome back.
No, it's grand. I see you're talking about Antonio and his amazing goal.
Yeah, it was good. That was fantastic. I really enjoyed that goal. I mean, Declan Rice's pass was good. That was classic. He's a guy that. Go ahead.
It also shows that the kid is not overrated, as people say.
He's not. I tend to hold judgment on people till I see them, and I feel he's not. I was cautious with him on the side, but I think he's a good guy. He really is a good player in that number 6 role. He's quick. He's energetic. He can defend. He can pass. Good guy. But he'll cost a lot of money, man. I don't think we need him, man.
He is. I know. We like for him, you're talking about 100 million above. They've already said it in public. The coaches also said it. So basically, that's the number they're looking for. In all fairness, with these crazy numbers people are throwing around, I wouldn't doubt he's worth it, though. He's actually becoming worth it for that amount. He's becoming very good.
Yeah, he's an England international. He's playing in Europe. He's a good player. He's a captain. He's a good player. He's 100 million. I would say he's 100 million. But let's quickly switch towards the game on Saturday, the game of the weekend, Chelsea versus City. And this was a game that you and I talked offline about tactics and everything else. And I'll just kind of share what I thought Pep should do, and we'll talk about what he did. Let me just share very quickly. Let me see if everybody can see. I'll just keep it here. So this is what I thought Pep should do, because Chelsea play traditionally in a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1, right? They have 3 center backs, 2 wing backs. Yeah. They have two defensive midfielders playing, Jorginho and Kante. Then they normally have Havertz and Lukaku up top, and then somebody else on the right. Maybe it's a guy from Morocco or somebody else, right? So that's what they play. But Tuchel changed it. He played a 3-5-2, right? And we'll talk about why he kind of did that. But this is what I thought Pep should do. I felt that Pep's best ever team was the Barcelona team that really played that 3-4-3 diamond. And there was Messi, there was Xavi, there was Iniesta, there was Busquets. They had a few. But I thought this is what Pep should have done. And the reason why I said that was because you have Laporte, Diaz, and Walker. And by the way, guys, whenever you hear some crazy journalist talk about somebody's injured, don't believe it. Wait till you hear the manager say it himself, because these guys are just clickbait merchants, right? Laporte wasn't injured. He was back, as we talked about, right? I said Rodri, I said Bernardo Silva should play, KDB should play, Foden should play. Why? Because I wanted that 4 to basically dominate Chelsea's 2 in the midfield, right? So it becomes a 4v2, and let Grealish and Jesus pin back the wing backs.
Yeah.
And let Varane do his movement. But the 4 against 2 was what I proposed. What ended up happening was that Pep went to a 4-3-3, but he changed. He put in Cancelo, brilliant left back, instead of Varane, and he played Foden as a false 9, which was the only difference. What Tuchel did was play the 3-5-2, right? He thought Pep was going to try to dominate the midfield, so he added an extra defender in his back in the middle 5 to counteract that. right? The problem was that if you do that, then you lose that extra person offensively to attack on the transition, and then City can push back because they still have that superiority in terms of ball control. Because defensive midfielders can't control and pass the ball as well as attacking midfielders generally. So that's kind of the tactical setup that I saw that, from the game itself, that City played. What were your thoughts?
For me, I'm just trying to get the lineup. I'm trying to get it. So bear with me for a minute. I'm trying to get the lineup that Pep used, so that we can have it and have it more fluid.
Yep.
If you can just share.
Yeah.
Share that one, so we'll be.
Yeah. Yeah, so you had Cancelo at left back, Laporte, Diaz, Walker. We had Rodri.
To be honest with you, wasn't that okay? This is what I'm thinking, right?
You had Kevin.
That looked like this for
yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what what ended up happening ultimately was that Pep played a 4-2-4.
Yeah.
That's what he really played. So De Bruyne was basically pushed up, or he had a kind of a free role to play across the whole field, right? You had Bernardo dropping back to create that 2 in midfield. Sometimes Cancelo would drop in, but I saw it as more or less a 4-2-4 than a 4-3-3. And Guardiola has done this before in Germany, where he played a 4-2-4 sometimes with Bayern Munich to help teams to help control the game and dominate the midfield. You had Grealish, you had Foden, and then you had.
Okay, so I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna start it off on how it starts. So we're gonna start off with attack, isn't it? So people can understand maybe what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take it back.
Take it back to where it was.
Yeah. I'll take it back to in its attacking form, so that people maybe will get exactly what we are on about. So I'm gonna push forward in here.
Yeah.
It's a false 9. These were stretched up top to make sure they pin back the. Okay, so basically, according to Carl, you're saying that it started off as a 4-3-3, right? That's a 4-3-3 in attack, isn't it? When we're attacking.
Right. It started in possession. It was a 4-3-3. In attack, it was a 4-3-3. Right. That's what it started off as. But what was happening was that Bernardo Silva was dropping back to support Rodri. So Bernardo would drop back to support Rodri, and then Kevin would move up. Right, and have a free role both left, in between Grealish and Foden, and in between Grealish and or Foden and Jesus. So he had a free role, right, to connect both. Yes, he had a free role. That's essentially what happens. He had almost a 4, a 2, and a 4, or 4-2-1-3. That was what basically the game was played. So what ended up happening all the time was that Chelsea had, again, 3-5-2. Right? Well, actually, it was actually more like 5-3-2, because they had basically 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, and then two attackers. That's what they did. Right? That's what they did. Right?
Okay, so basically, Bernardo Silva was doing the job that Gundogan does most of the times. But the thing about Bernardo Silva is he has a very strong engine in him, so he makes things very difficult for other teams. Because I believe people said Kante and Kovacic and Jorginho had a bad game. I think the reason was Bernardo Silva. He followed them wherever they went. Even Rodri followed. Bernardo Silva and Rodri followed. I remember there was a time when I saw Rodri following Kante wherever he goes, and I saw Bernardo Silva following Jorginho wherever he goes. De Bruyne was pressing Kovacic, pressing Jorginho. So it was fluid. It was a fluid midfield.
So I noticed a few things. First of all, De Bruyne was one who was actually in the first half chasing Jorginho around the whole field, right? So De Bruyne's job was literally to mark Jorginho around the whole field, right? So that's one defensive midfield.
So De Bruyne was around this area,
right? De Bruyne was, and that's where Jorginho loves to play. Jorginho loves to play in the defensive third of Chelsea. That's where he operates best. You never really find Jorginho playing in the final third of the opposition. He's always the one, and he's brilliant at doing this. He's always the one who connects the play. What Chelsea do is that Chelsea have the ball. They love to play wide, right? And then bring the ball central and then transition again to the attackers. That's what they love to do, right? So they get the ball, they like to go to the wing backs who are wide, Alonso or Rhys James or the other guy, Aspilicueta, and then
So
they
they were
like
pinned by these two
right,
guys, yeah.
right, and they like to come central to try and send the ball to Jorginho or Kante to combine and then transition to the front three. It's basically a transition team. What City were able to do was try to nullify those two players, right? Jorginho, Kante, and there was Kovacic as well in the three by De Bruyne marking what's his name, Jorginho, and then Rodri, Bernardo basically controlling the ball in the middle of the park while our wingers pushed those fullbacks back so they couldn't get out. And then you had a problem where you had Lukaku and Werner who were playing against Walker, Laporte, and Diaz. So it was 3 against 2. So basically what was happening there was, if you notice what was happening was Laporte was on Lukaku all the time. Diaz was always following Werner all the time because 3 against 2. If they miss a tackle, there's always a spare man at the back to clean up, either Cancelo or Walker.
Yeah. So do you think going like, for me, to be honest with you, Bernardo looks like is the go-to guy when you're playing big games, because he's running and his pressing is out of this world. Like, maybe one day he will run out of this running because obviously legs go, but I think he's a go-to guy for big games. I think if we want to see him in the Liverpool game and PSG game, I'll be surprised. I would truly be surprised.
Bernardo Silva has something that no other player on our team has, in my opinion. He has the stamina to run. He has the mentality to run. He's selfless. They're all selfless. They work for each other. But Bernardo Silva has a tenacity that I haven't seen in many of our players. Gundogan is great, but Gundogan will lose the ball sometimes, and his speed is not up. It doesn't help. The reason why Rodri was so good yesterday was because of Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne wasn't that good yesterday.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
Right. Kevin lost a lot of the balls, some misplaced passes because maybe he's getting up to speed in terms of his fitness, which is fine. Foden wasn't very good yesterday either. Kept losing the ball, wasn't pressing well, didn't know really where to find his rhythm. Bernardo Silva yesterday ran that show with Rodri.
Yeah.
And then Ruben Diaz's performance as a captain yesterday was Vincent Kompany-esque.
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yeah, I'm here.
You know, so it was a really tactical game. I think the mistake that what's his name made, Tuchel made, was playing that 3-5-2. Playing the extra person in defensive midfield versus playing a Havertz or playing what's the other kid's name? That other Moroccan guy's name.
Mason Mount. Who was
injured? Mount was injured, but you could play the other kid, that guy from Morocco, from Ajax.
Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah. Play them as the two behind Lukaku. Now you have a 3v3, which means that Cancelo has to make a decision. Do I go? Do I stay? Because if Cancelo goes into midfield, then it's 3 versus 3, and then anything can happen. You don't have
that's the reason. That's the reason why. Obviously, it also shows now that we really played a foolish man's game by not putting a DM in the final.
Oh, it was. I mean, I thought
that's why I believe that if Bernardo Silva, I don't think Bernardo
Silva
was starting. Yeah, I think if he started and this was the system, I think they could have struggled. I think the reason why they went through ourselves is because we were so open. The back four was exposed, and they had Mason Mount sitting between Gundogan and where Diaz and Stones were. So Mason Mount was actually given a free role in that game, if you know what I mean. Yeah. He was sitting there just waiting for counters. That's the same system they did today, but they did it with Werner and Lukaku. I don't know if you noticed that. He had Werner and Lukaku. So basically, I'll just point out. I don't know. Can you see where I'm pointing here?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So he had Werner and Lukaku right here, waiting for counters. So that's his system, Tuchel. It seems like, he has these two. So Jorginho is the ball carrier, and Kante, they have to carry the ball and send it over to these two guys. Werner has to be stretching the pitch by staying a bit sometimes over to the right-hand side where Walker is. But I think the only reason why I think we played Cancelo in the final, did we? Did we play Walker?
It wasn't Cancelo. It was Zinchenko. Was it? I can't remember.
it was Cancelo and Zinchenko, wasn't it, in the fullbacks?
I
I don't
can't.
remember.
I can't
I
remember
don't
what it
remember.
was.
But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, I think it was more effective because it was three, as you say. It was Mount now. Mount was receiving the ball, and Mount was the one giving it to Havertz. I think Havertz was playing the role as the first nine
Yeah. Yeah.
in that game, if I remember right. So that's
Yeah.
why it was effective. He could have played Havertz. He could have played Kai Havertz to sort of also be down the middle and sort of be a three of Havertz, Werner, and Lukaku. I think we could have had more issues because if you noticed later on when they started pinning balls, over the top, we
Mhm.
started struggling. So you're
Yeah.
right about that.
Yeah.
I think that game, even though Chelsea fans keep laughing at us, but now who's laughing? Because some
Well,
Chelsea fans wrote a status saying, "Go ahead, play your DM. We'll see if you can win." You know what
well,
I mean? That's what they say.
here's what I mean. I have a lot of Chelsea fans on both sides of the aisle. And when I say both sides, I mean Chelsea fans who are my really good friends, who understand football, who know what they're talking about, and they understand
Yeah,
what's going on, right? Then I have
yeah,
some
true.
Chelsea fans who are just trolls and just like to troll and talk a lot of stuff that I can't mention on camera, right? My Chelsea fans who know football know that once they saw there was no DM in that place and Gundogan was playing there and there was no Foden and there was no Bernardo Silva and you're playing Raheem Sterling against a back five, we're not going to win that game. Remember, I kept telling you, Patrick, I said you cannot play Raheem Sterling, in my opinion, as a left-sided winger who's a right-footed player against a back five and
Yeah,
Riyad
true.
Mahrez. You
Yeah,
can't
true.
do it. It's a recipe for disaster. Why? Because what happens on the back five, right? You play Sterling and Mahrez on inverted wingers. They come into traffic. They're coming into the back five. You're not stretching the play. Unlike a Jesus on the right side, who's able to stretch the play wide and gives
Yeah.
the wing back a decision to make. Whether do I stay or do I go? Which is why Rudiger was always the one who was tracking because he kept beating the wing back. Jesus kept beating the wing back, so Rudiger had to come across to go and close him down, which is why Rudiger was upset. On the other side, you had Jack Grealish, who's better skilled than Sterling, who's able to work in tight spaces and gave the other wing back a problem. So we basically pinned them wing backs back. So it was a back five, right? Then you had the middle three, but in the middle three, we now had De Bruyne, we had Rodri, we had Bernardo and Foden as a four. And then in the back, and you had Cancelo stepping into midfield, making a five, and in the back it was just Lukaku and Werner against the back three, which is why we were able to press high up the field and keep territory and keep possession high up the field. Right? Tuchel's mistake, in my opinion, was playing an extra defensive midfielder instead of an extra attacking midfielder.
I think he because City always have possession of the ball. I think he wanted control of the midfield. That's what he wanted because he knew that this game is going to be won in the midfield. But unfortunately, this game was won in the midfield. But I think we were using more of the wingers, and they caused more trouble for him. To be honest with you, as I said, without Bernardo Silva, we're not winning this game. I think so.
I agree. I agree
because he was doing a two-man job. I know people like crediting Kante, who's an amazing player, but Bernardo also does a two-man job when he's in that midfield sometimes.
I'll tell you the person who impressed me the most on the Chelsea team was Jorginho. I mean, rivalry aside, right? I mean, I watch the game because I want to learn. I'm a coach, and I coach kids. I learn from every single team what they're doing.
Yeah.
And Jorginho, for me, I love the player. I think is a fantastic player. I wish we could have gotten him because I think he would fit our system perfectly.
Yeah, he would. Yeah,
he was always available, always moving the ball left and right. He's not good defensively to kind of mark a player. But his decision making on the ball is very quick. He moves the ball. The good thing was that Rodri was his match in the game as well. Rodri was as quick on the ball, as quick off the ball. His passing and moving was very quick.
He's very underrated, isn't he?
Yeah, Bernardo was there to help him out. Kevin was off his game. So was Foden. But Jesus was always getting the ball, was always attacking down the right, always attacking, creating problems. Jack was always on the left, creating problems. And then Diaz and Laporte. Laporte, to me, is the best left-sided centre-back in the Premier League. Left-sided centre-back, which is that he's a left-footed centre-back in the Premier League. And then Diaz, what can you say about Diaz?
Amazing. That block he did for that because that was a sure goal, and the way he blocked it, like he loves defending, and you can see he was having a sort of a bad patch when we were ending last season. I think it was just him being like maybe batteries were running out, you know what I mean? But now he looks like he's back. and the way he demands that back line, even being at the age of 23, being a captain, he deserves to be a captain, because a captain doesn't mean age, by the way. A lot of people keep saying, why are you picking Diaz, a new guy, and he's 23? It's not about age. Captain is a captain, You are sometimes born a captain.
I'll tell you what, on Friday, in our game on Friday, I gave the youngest player on the team, youngest and the smallest player on the team, the captaincy. And the player was magnificent. I mean, to the point where I had to call the parents and say, you know what, this kid here, you brought him up well. You brought this kid up well. This kid understands the game, plays left back, what is a captain material, smallest person on the field, youngest, but talking to her teammates, talking to them one-on-one. Hey, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. Absolutely fantastic. You're right. Captaincy is not by age. In my opinion, a guy should be the number one captain. Once Fernandinho rose, the guy should take over the mantle that company had. But in summary, the game was a game of complete football.
It was amazing. It was a tactical battle. Even though people don't get it, even Tuchel had his moments in that game.
Oh, yeah.
For him what I love about Tuchel, he is in game. He changes things in game. You saw the instructions he was given, and you saw the instructions both of them were given. There was a point in time the cameras were on both, and everybody was, like giving the signs, go wide. Guardiola's go wide. Tuchel was like, go narrow, and over the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My only concern with Tuchel and Chelsea is the fact. Here's my concern. I think they're good in the cup team. They're a good cup team. So cups, they're really good because it's one off. You can win, lose. My problem with them is the fact that you can't have this kind of players, Lukaku, Jorginho, all these players, and be playing that kind of football, sitting back, packing the bus. You just can't do that. I don't think the owner, Roman, I don't think he likes it. I think that what he saw yesterday, he'd be like, what the hell is this, right? I didn't pay all this money. I didn't bring a little Lukaku for $100 million to play this. Lukaku had zero touch
for him to be a defensive midfielder,
Yeah, he had zero touch of the ball, 0 shots, 0 attempts on target. Nothing. Are we paying $100 million? $100 million for him? So that's my concern. Otherwise, they're a really good team. And again, I would say that of all the teams in the Premier League, probably them and us are the ones who have played the most top 4 teams. I mean, maybe Tottenham. No, them and us. Yeah, we played Tottenham. We played Arsenal. We played Leicester. We played Chelsea. Right? That's 4, and we have one more left. Maybe United and Liverpool. Yeah, and that's by what, October?
We even if Spurs is not counted, it's still one of the strongest to also play against, even though they're in a disaster. Look, you're right about that. We have played very difficult teams for both, and look, for me, I enjoyed that game because it was a very tactical game, and even those games it's the same as the games we played against Liverpool. It doesn't matter if the result is not 5-4 or 5-4-0 as people always expect it to be. I love a game to be content, like tight like that.
1-0.
But it has to be amazing, like how amazing that game was. The same way when we beat, the same way when we first drew with Liverpool at Anfield. Remember that game? It was 0-0.
That was one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, when Mahrez missed that was a one of the best intense games ever. Then the 2-1 was also one of the most intense games ever. Those are the games. Even last season when we beat Liverpool, the first game we played with them when we won 2-1, when we had to come back, when Jesus spin around, it looks like that's one of his signatures, the same one as did he spin around and scored. It was games have to be like that. People think that games with the big guys have to be open games, scoring games. That's when you say no.
I mean, from a coaching perspective, here's my own feeling. I'll tell you what I experienced on the field.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. I mean, our second game of the season, we won the game 8-1. 8-1. It was nice to score 8 goals, but I felt kind of okay, 8-1, good. One game we played, we won the game 1-0, and it was against a tough opponent. We won the second best team probably in our league. I felt more satisfaction in that win than I did on the 8-1. Because it was a closely contested game. It was tight. It was tactical. Both good teams trying to out-tactic each other. Real tactical on the field. We had to make decisions on the field, who we play, what we need to do, change things around. That gave me more satisfaction than the 8-1 win where we blew someone away. Because it was like, okay, we beat them away, so what? We're no match for them.
Yeah.
If you go back a couple of years ago in the 17-18 season when we beat Chelsea 1-0 at the Bridge, when De Bruyne scores that goal.
Mm.
That game was a marker because we remember that game because of the way we played that game, right? It was offensive, it was creative, it was pass and move football, it was Guardiola football at its finest. And I talk about to my Chelsea fans about Champions League final. Yes, they won and they deserve to win the game. Great, congratulations. But we all know that Pep plays his proper team, doesn't overthink. We know what the result's going to be. Even the bookies knew that the result was supposed to be X.
Yeah.
So it's a great game. They're two great teams. Both teams are very good. I think they'll go the distance.
Yeah.
This week will be another week where we see what happens given the games that we have.
So what do you think? What do you think of this week? Would you go with the same lineup? Who would you take out this week?
The most important game for us. The most important game for us is on Sunday, not Saturday, not Wednesday, not Tuesday.
Yeah,
so for me, Tuesday, right? Play a 4-2-3-1. Put in some kids. Put in players who are kind of okay, who haven't got time yet. That's what you do. You lose it 2-1. You drive one. You tie 1-1. Okay, you have another round when they come back. You're already 3 points ahead. You're going to beat the other teams anyway, home and away. So you're going to qualify, right? Having said that, I still don't think we're going to lose on Tuesday. I think there's a whole likelihood that we tie or we win, but it's football, anything can happen. Yeah. The more important game for me is the game on Sunday, because you win that game at Anfield, you've now not only just topped the league, probably, right? Mm-hmm. You've now set a marker down, and the rest of your games till probably January or February are pretty straightforward games. Only one game there that's kind of tough, which is going to be United away, which I fancy winning.
Yeah, so and we're going to take and we'll take points from both Liverpool and Chelsea if we beat Liverpool on Sunday.
Right. So you basically open up that gap, and then the fear factor comes back because now they've beaten Chelsea, they could beat Liverpool. We've only lost to Tottenham 1-0 away, which is okay, it happens. Knock away Arsenal, right? You just basically now begin to crush your opponents and begin to kind of blaze a trail. However, Liverpool are a very, very good team. Right, they know how to play us. They're very, very good. So I expect to have a difficult game. If we lose the game, does it change anything? No. We're just 3 points behind going into the international break, and we played our most difficult games.
Yeah.
So this win against Chelsea to me was the significant one because
it was important.
On Saturday, and we're going to PSG. There's pressure. If you lose that game or tie that game, then there's more pressure going into Sunday, and we know what the media in England are like. The media in England will make sure they do every single thing possible to distract the team. Injuries, rumors, this rumor against Guardiola saying something, Pep said this, Pep didn't say that, to distract from the issue that Man United is going to have when they play Villarreal at home on Wednesday, Chelsea at Juventus on Wednesday or Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Liverpool playing Porto in Porto, the tough bastards in Portugal.
Yeah.
So this win for me was the critical win. We had to win this game for confidence, for the message it sends, for the momentum going into next Sunday.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right about that. Because if we lost against Chelsea, there's just going to be more and more narratives against us. And there's just going to be more and more. Look, for me, that was an amazing. That was amazing response. And I did say 2-1 in my match preview. I said 2-1 because I just had a feeling that we are going to humble them. I was like, there's no way. Because Tottenham once did this to us when Pep came. They were always happy. I know right now they also win, but they were always beating us for a while. I don't know if you remember, then we started humbling them. The third time we started humbling them all the time. I think we only dropped the ball in the Champions League with them, and then they seem to have our number at the new stadium. To be honest with you, I don't think when Tottenham come to the Etihad, they're going to have joy. I don't think they're going to have joy. I think we'll be well prepared for them. So anyway, Carl, that's for me. I think even the PSG game, Carl, I've been watching PSG. I don't think they'll destroy us. I don't think they will. Like the way we think that even if for me, if I doubt if they would actually destroy us because they're struggling to destroy teams. I can hear you.
Patrick, the PSG game, here's some background for you, okay? City have never lost to PSG, home or away.
I know, 2016, De Bruyne ruined them twice.
Yeah, home and away. So we have that. Number two, it of the three games, it's the least important game. Yeah. It is the least important game of the three games. Now, should we not take it? We should take it seriously because you win that game, it again, the narrative, right? If you lose a game, Depends on how you lose the game. If you lose it 1-0, okay, Champions League game, PSG at home, they need the points. We're up by 3 points. They have 1 point. We can still top the group, right? And so the more important game for me is going to be the game on Sunday, not the PSG game.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking though, because don't forget, look at people who were benched. I think even people who are benched can still hold themselves, can still hold their own against PSG. Because we're talking about John Stones, possibility of John Stones coming in, possibility of Ferran Torres coming in, possibility
Mahrez.
of Fernandinho coming in, possibility of Mahrez coming in. Like you still, and they will have nightmares about Mahrez. They will have nightmares about Mahrez, so they know. So look, I still have a feeling that regardless who we throw in, they will still give them trouble. They will still trouble them. So that's for me. I think I'm not overly confident, but I think we will still have a game against them regardless.
Well, I mean, just to wrap it up real quick. I mean, I've always I tell local fans, City fans, and by the way, just one more thing. The away fans, the City away fans yesterday at Stamford Bridge.
Amazing.
I mean, those guys and gals are they're amazing. Win or lose, the way they sing, the way they shout, the way they support the team, simply amazing. Really amazing. I just wish they could replicate that at the Etihad. Maybe we're too comfortable, but it's been a good day. It's been a good weekend for the club. Just trust the manager, trust the process. There's a reason why these guys are champions for a reason, right? It's not by fluke. And the media needs to start paying respects to this team and this manager, because the kind of football we're playing, England ain't seen this kind of football, man. I'm sorry.
They don't. And you can see
not in the Fergie years, not in any years, they ain't playing this kind of football. I'm sorry.
And have you noticed that a lot of teams have in the Championship and even teams in the Premier League? I noticed I was watching the other game. What game was that? I don't know. What was the game in the afternoon? That particular, there was another game and the ball was always on the ground. Something I never saw years ago before Pep came. Everybody keeps passing from the back. Everybody keeps passing it from the back now. So it's all changing. Even Newcastle, they build from the back these days. They don't just hoof it. They'll hoof it sometimes, but every team now has started building from the back. And nobody can lie that that's not because of Pep Guardiola's influence. And in the Championship, everybody's also building from the back. They're looking for defenders who can carry the ball from the back. So things have changed. Guardiola has left his mark in this country. I don't think anybody will ever hoof the ball again, because they've seen the benefits of passing from the back. And I was amazed by one of the teams. What team was that? They were passing from the back. If I remember the game, I'll tell you. They were passing from the back, and they insisted in passing from the back the same way City used to when they started off.
Brighton? Is it Brighton?
No, not Brighton. What was it? It was one of these teams.
Speaking of passing, watch tomorrow's game, Brighton versus Palace. That Brighton guy, for me, is good enough to be the England manager because the kind of football he plays. So they play a back three, but they play a progressive back three, which is they don't just sit back. They play through the channels, through the thirds, with ease, with passing, with moods, very smooth. Now, the finishing is suspect. They don't have a finisher, but the philosophy is there within the club. You can see what they're doing.
That's an amazing philosophy.
They don't just sit back with 8 behind the ball and just hope that something happens. They're actually progressive. I think they beat us last year, right? Towards the end of the season, Brighton beat us because they played that kind of football.
Yeah.
So, and this guy was at somewhere in Sweden or Denmark before he came to England. He had the same philosophy. Graham Potter is a serious guy. He's a serious guy. England should take him seriously. If they want a progressive manager who can play a back three that's progressive, they need to look at this guy. He's a Premier League manager and knows what he's doing. So, anyway. Patrick, any last words from you, bro? This has been good. I like to talk tactics and strategy.
No, just for me, look, it was an amazing win. Well done to the boys. Well done to the team. Well done to the away fans. Look, that was amazing. We could hear you guys from the beginning to the end. So look, for me, I as I told you, Carl, I would like to continue doing a lot of videos with you, and it's because it's always interesting, all the conversations we had. That's why I proposed that we both proposed that, let's do a video, and I even said I would like to hear you talk about tactics on your channel, just hear from you. So look, this is amazing. I hope we do well at PSG, and if we get time, obviously we will maybe make a PSG preview. together.
Wait, Patrick, anytime you're ready, just let me know. I'll make time for you. I'll find time in my calendar to make for you, because I do enjoy talking to you, not just on the camera itself, but even on our WhatsApp chats. We have some really good discussion. We may not agree all the time, but there's mutual respect there, and I really appreciate that, because I don't like being alone and just thinking in my head about football tech. I like to share that.
You go crazy, don't you? You start speaking to your child.
That's what I tell my kids. Say, see what he's doing. See why he's moving up. That's why he's moving up. What happened there? Like today during the game, I think when it was the Leicester game, Leicester versus Burnley, when the keeper was going towards Jamie Vardy and he didn't get the ball. So I asked my kid, okay, what would have happened there if the keeper had fouled Jamie Vardy and didn't get the ball? And the kid is like 5 years old. Said that's going to be a penalty. Correct. Right. So every moment is a teaching moment. So, coach, I'm learning the game as well, and I really enjoy this game, win, lose, or draw. So anytime you're ready, man, I'm ready for you. Okay.
No, it's good, Carl. Obviously, we see each other again. I'm pretty sure we'll continue talking on the WhatsApp after this. Anyway, blessed day to you and obviously everybody in the comments.
Right.
Okay, see you, Carl.
Thanks everyone for joining, and Patrick, God bless you, man. Take care and see you soon. Thanks everyone for joining. See you next time. Hopefully, we do a preview for Champions League and we'll see how it goes, or we do a post view. But till then,
don't forget to subscribe to Pitch Points. If you want to hear somebody who has amazing tactics and good football talk, Carl is the man. Don't forget to subscribe. The guys on Twitter who I know are watching right now, like the vid, subscribe, and we both continue sending you doing these videos. And by the way, I found a way to have the streams on both channels at the same time, so I'll tell you that off camera.
All right, thanks, man. Again,
thank you very much, man.
Patrick is at Truth City Fan on Twitter. He's a fantastic guy, nice guy. And till next time, man, we'll see you soon. Everyone take care.
See you, man. God bless.